Hey everyone, welcome to this week's video. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already so you won't miss future uploads that may be beneficial to your pet. As you can tell from the title of today's video, we're going to be looking at reptile terms you may not know. Before we start, I just wanted to mention quickly that I got this video idea from Elle's Reptiles. Her video has more terms and goes into more depth of each term, but I just wanted to make my video and have my own spin of it. But make sure to check out her video as it was very helpful. But now that I've given credit where credit is due, let's jump into the video and I hope you enjoy. Morphs are pretty much a reptile that has a different appearance to that of what would be found in the wild. Many reptiles will be bred for a specific morph such as a certain colour or pattern. There are videos on YouTube that could help you to identify what morph your reptile is. Most places where you can get reptiles from should tell you what morph your reptile is, but if not, you could just watch some YouTube videos to find out. I don't have any videos on this as I don't know a lot about how to identify morphs and I wouldn't want to give you the wrong information. Wherever you get your information from, just make sure that it is a reliable source. You could expect to pay more for a reptile that is a rarer morph and is not as readily available. So just keep that in mind and be prepared to pay more for a rarer morph. But if you don't really care about colours, then there's no reason to buy a rarer morph, but that decision is yours. Next up, we have gut loading. Gut loading is where you feed your reptiles food before you feed them to your reptile. I'm going to use feeding bearded dragons crickets as an example. Crickets are my bearded dragon's main source of protein. So if you have crickets, you would want to feed the crickets a healthy meal within 24 to 48 hours before giving them to your bearded dragons for the best results. This way, your bearded dragon will be able to get the nutrients from both the crickets and the meal that the crickets just ate. It's pretty much like the food chain or food web, but I'm not going to go into that. But basically, feeding the prey something healthy first will benefit your reptile. This doesn't just apply to bearded dragons though, it can also apply to other species of reptiles. In this photo, you can see some fresh fruits and veggies that you can use to gut load your crickets. Here we just have some bok choy, an apple, and a carrot. The next term is egg bound or egg binding. I don't actually have a bearded dragon egg to show you, so I'm just going to use a chicken egg for this photo. Egg binding can happen to pretty much any female animal that lays eggs. Egg binding can also be referred to as egg retention. Egg binding occurs when a reptile's egg gets stuck in their reproductive tract and it is hard to get out. There are many reasons why reptiles may become egg bound. Some reasons can include, but are not limited to, the tank may not be set up properly, the eggs may be larger than usual, or the mother isn't fit enough to push out the egg. Don't worry if your female reptile laid an egg. It won't hatch unless the female has been in contact with a male. Reptiles can still lay infertile eggs. It's more of a concern if your female reptile stops laying eggs for no reason and it's all of a sudden. If you suspect that your reptile may be egg bound, please take them to an exotic vet or a vet that will see reptiles. I do not give medical advice, so you and your vet will need to discuss this if your reptile is egg bound. The next reptile term you may not know is temperature sexing. The temperature can actually determine the gender of the offspring. This isn't always 100% accurate, but it is pretty close and it is often a method used by breeders when they are breeding for a specific gender in mind. If the inside of the egg is kept at 32 degrees Celsius and above, the reptile can actually change from being a male to a female. If you want to know what different reptiles need to be kept at in order to be a certain gender, you can Google for the answer you are looking for. I just thought this was a very interesting thing, as most people wouldn't know that the temperature can control your reptile's gender. The final term on this list is bioactive setups. Bioactive setups are becoming more and more popular now, especially compared to when they first started to be introduced to people. Bioactive setups are basically like a little ecosystem in your reptile's tank. You can put bugs and live plants in the tank as well. I know Tyler Ruggie has a video on how to set up a bioactive tank for bearded dragons if you wanted to check that out. I know many other pet tubers have tutorials as well, but his video is one that I thought of when making this video. I have never tried a bioactive tank personally, but that's not to say that I would never make a bioactive setup for my bearded dragon. One of the main reasons why people do a bioactive tank is so that they can try and replicate what a reptile would have in the wild. A benefit to bioactive tanks, and another reason people use bioactive tanks, is because it minimizes how much maintenance you have to do for your bearded dragon's enclosure. The substrate and bugs can break down your reptile's waste, and then it can turn into fertilizer for the live plants. It's a mini ecosystem, as I mentioned earlier, and it will make your job a lot easier. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to let me know which terms you did and didn't know. Until next time, bye!